Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? I just scuffed the intro, but that's fine, doesn't bother me. How's everyone doing? And by everyone, I mean just one person, because everyone's left us because they can't carry on with the podcast.
Other people have actual lives, apparently, and
Oh,
can't make stuff.
don't
It's
you
a bit
hate?
of a
Don't
joke, really.
you hate
Terrible.
it?
But yeah, we
Anyway.
are good. Things are well underway. We're really seeing how
Sorry,
this
Jazz,
league
are
is.
you the
winning
host
out.
or am I? Yeah, that's what I thought. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DPC Digest. Oh, I'm only joking, Jazz.
I know.
You've got a bit
It's
of
okay. You said how are things going. I just assumed you
No,
were asking me,
I
and
don't care what you think.
you don't care. Okay.
Okay, moving on. So let's have a look at the past week's games, guys. We got one final week. So we're looking at the penultimate week beforehand because we've got 1 week's left games. So let's look at those past week's games. Starting off with Enigma versus Tundra. This was actually a huge series going into it because this would have really dictated maybe who was going to be potentially relegated and who was going to go to the major. If Enigma didn't have won, they would have carried on with only 2 wins out of the whole DPC. So game 1 was a really close series actually. Enigma had this early mid-game timing with Carry Razor and offlane Beastmaster. And interesting enough, they actually put Miracle to mid lane, which is really interesting because
It's really interesting because they don't trust
they
Weehaw.
don't trust we are. Yes, that's what it comes down to. When the going gets tough, and this always happens with Liquid as well. By the way, sorry, with Enigma. Every time like they struggle a little bit, or they wobble, or they're not showing. Enigma, like Weehaw, he always plays these weird safe lane carries. Like before it was Ursa. I know Ursa's kind of a bit more popular now, but it was like Ursa and all these kind of like Vipers or whatever. And then they always put Miracle on mid, and it's like I feel like they just don't trust Weehaw when the going gets tough to play mid.
It's like, we could get relegated.
Yeah.
What should
What
we
should
do?
we do? Like,
Let's get rid of our mid laner.
literally, it's like they have no confidence in him, and that's the thing why Twitch chat just like blow up on him and just like hate him so much because it just feels like Enigma really doesn't like him. But just talking about the game, what was you gonna say?
I was gonna say, here's a thought: get rid of Weehaw,
Yeah.
bring in some ale.
Exactly. Win-win.
They could do.
There we go. But yeah, it was a really good game from Enigma. They had a really strong early showing, actually. But Tundra, I thought, played fantastic, actually.
They did.
Just the way of kind of keeping the tempo. They had this PA, and they were trying to delay, because eventually PA was going to out-carry Razor, and it would have been a really nice showing. And that's actually what they did. They had some really nice showings. And to be fair, Weehard did get picked up a few times on his Razor, and Tundra ended up getting the first racks, actually. And then Tundra got a Roche and got the Aegis on PA, and everything was looking like Tundra eventually going to carry this game on, except for this one engagement where the Aegis timer had finished on the PA, and it was everyone was alive. Both teams smoked. They went for this one rune, and Skeeter, after all the time I was praising him last week, made a fatal error. He jumped onto Miracle, didn't pop his BKB, got blown up. The whole team fight was just a disaster after that. Everyone on Tundra got wiped, and no one had buyback, and they lost 2 of their racks instantly like that. And the game just flipped on its head, even though Tundra was like looking like they were going to win that game, even though Enigma had this early showing. And yeah, just a big mistake, and it shows how close the series was. Really, that one simple mistake can just blow open a game completely. But
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, just shame really because I was praising Skeeter and he makes one play and
Yeah.
But game 2, really, I felt like this always happens really when there's 2 kind of close teams. Perhaps Enigma are probably the favourites going into it. They fight really competitively and fiercely for game 1, and then when they end up losing, game 2 is just a stomp, and they just crumble under the pressure after they lose it. And yeah, they kind of outdrafted themselves as well. They went this offlane alchemist, and it was a bit of a meme, and yeah, they ended up just kind of going out.
Yeah, it happened a little bit this week, didn't it?
Yeah, we'll get onto that.
We will.
And then moving on to the next series, Secret versus High Coast.
Oh wow, what a game! I mean, what a game! This had to be the series of I say what a game. It felt like one game because it was just over so quickly, and I mean, it could have been over even quicker. But the thing that I just loved the most was no mercy from Secret. There were so many times where it was just like, Oh, come on, just let him get that kill. Let him just do. No, okay, no mercy at all.
Puppy was playing OD. I don't know if it was game 1 or game 2, but he was like nearly like godlike as an OD position 5, and it was just
Yes.
I mean, it was just position. It was just business as usual, right? For Secret, there's not much really
to
say. Just they stopped the lanes and then went on to stop the game. I think it was game 2 actually.
Exactly.
Game 2. Just crushed the Dark Seer of Spirit Lane. So the next series, this was the Viking versus Alliance. Really, kind of a really good series as well, I thought.
And it ended up being a very important game.
Yeah, really, really critical. Because Viking, they kind of needed to win this game against Alliance. It went all 3 games in the end. They did have their stand-in Keizu as well. Game 2 was a really fierce game, probably the most fierce game of the series. In the end, PL ended up overcoming them versus Wraith King. They just couldn't end up killing the illusions. Then game 3, it was kind of a bit, again, goes back to the series I was talking about with Enigma versus Tundra, where once the almost preferred team or the better team ends up winning the game, the next game after is a bit of a stomp, because game 3, Alliance ended up stomping them and just kind of looked after it.
Game 3, 20 minutes.
So just a bit of a stomp from Alliance in game 3. But again, good series, but really important for Viking, because they really needed to win that game to perhaps get out of the relegation battle. In the end, obviously, the last series we'll end up talking about is actually between Tundra and Viking. But probably the most important series of the whole week was Liquid versus OG. I mean, a huge series for both, really, because both were vying for the major. Both didn't want to kind of buckle under the pressure. Really huge series. In the end, obviously, it went to all 3 games. Actually, we was kind of flaming the offlane alchemist. But I just want to talk about game 1. I think OG really had control of game 1 throughout, really. Liquid were trying to play the lone droid. And just kind of didn't look all that much, really. I think OG had a lot of control. I mean, there was a few back and forths, and they were kind of almost playing with their food. They got megas, and then end up throwing a few team fights. But in the end, it didn't really matter. But this, I think, really shows to me the difference in caliber between different teams. Because game 2, after that kind of close game in game 1, you'd think the lesser team would just get rolled over by OG. Instead, it was the complete opposite. Liquid completely destroyed OG. Actually, was their quickest win.
It was the quickest game,
quickest loss.
Ever.
It was quickest. First of all, it was the quickest game in the EU DPC. But interesting enough, it was the quickest loss for OG in the whole of their history out of all the years they played before. It was a
bit of research there.
13-minute GG from Liquid. And to be honest, I think it came down to 2 things. It was largely strategical, really. It was the idea of Timbersaw, like this hero. Like if you don't have a way of dealing with him, he can kind of dominate a lane. And secondly, they had a hero like Arc Warden was playing mid, which this hero can be very good, but the problem with him is that if your side lanes go badly, and they did, they had, I think it was a DK side lane and as well, so and then they obviously lost to versus the Timbersaw, that Arc Warden can't stabilize this side lane, so they ended up just getting completely rolled over. Liquid, really high tempo, really high aggression, and leveled the series really quickly. As for game 3, now this was the really tightly contested game. Went sort of 45 minutes. Really good series. Yeah, really, really cool series. Chaos Knight offlane, no wonder why you liked the series. And I thought Seb actually played phenomenal, actually, throughout the series. He was, I think, it's great to sort of
He was more of a carry for most of that game than the Wraith King was. If it wasn't for Seb, they could have lost a lot sooner.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. In the end, though, they ended up Liquid ended up taking it. I think Insania's Grimstroke with the Ags actually played a big factor into it as well.
Huge.
Taking over the Wraith King, taking over the Chaos Knight, and then obviously the combination of Double Rupture with the Bloodseeker as well was a really, really cool draft from Liquid. And so they ended up winning the series, which was huge, because if they'd lost that, they would have definitely not been able to get a chance at the major. Could have even perhaps got relegated, depending on how the other series went as well. Any thoughts on that series? Because that was probably the series of
I loved it. I always love watching Enigma. Enigma, not Enigma, Enigma, because the black holes, he did a couple that were just so good, where it looked like the fight was about to end, and then because of that, This is game 2 I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They just stomped, but that was always great to see, even if it was only 13 minutes. But yeah, that last game, that Bloodseeker was doing so much work.
Yeah.
But I had to give it to the Grimstroke as the MVP of that game.
Yeah.
The way that he was dark portraiting
Yeah.
the Wraith King, and then when fight started, he just ran it at the backlines a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They couldn't join the fight,
Yeah.
and so you just had Wraith King and Chaos Knight on an island, and it just fantastic game. Really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
For sure. And then the final series was Tundra versus Viking. Now this was a critical series because whoever lost this series would get confirmed relegated down to Division 2 next series. So Viking ended up winning game 1. It was really nice to see because I've been playing quite a bit of Leshrac mid, and we saw a boom on the Leshrac down middle lane. I thought he played really well. I was watching from his player perspective, and I learned a lot that game actually on Leshrac. And I think just really good tight series or tight game on game 1, but the Leshrac was given Aegis, and they really struggled to deal with both the Leshrac and the carry for Viking that game. As for game 2, I think this was a little bit of a weird decision from Viking actually. They ended up putting the carry in the off lane, and then Viking and Tundra ended up dealing with it with the Nature Prophet and Gyro, which was kind of a real curveball. They ended up playing position 5 Gyro, and then they laned it versus the off lane Jug and Crystal Maiden, and they ended up just outplaying it. 33, honestly, man, this guy. I know I was raving about Skeeter, but 33 is another one of these hero players that I'm just enamored by. Honestly, I think they're so good and they're so cool to play. He played fantastic, so then they ended up tying the series. And game 3, like there was no one other but 33. His Darkseer was insane actually, the way he was getting these vacuum walls. And there was one play that I'll show you later how he actually delayed almost losing racks with his courier. He made this insane courier play where he enabled backdoor protection by taking the creep wave with his courier, which I've never seen before. So basically they were pushing, and he used his courier to grab the enemy creep wave and run it down away so that the racks would get backdoor protection. It was such a high level play. I'd never seen it before. Unbelievable, Jeff. It was sick. And we'll see that later in one of the plays. That was without a doubt. And so in the end they ended up taking game 3 and forced Viking to elimination, unfortunately. But
yeah, I kind of feel sad in some ways that Viking are getting relegated, but I think what it is I think if anyone other than High Coast were getting relegated, I'd be like, I feel like they deserve to stay up.
Same.
This is the problem, but it's the way it goes. That's obviously there has to be 2 being relegated. So if it was Tundra, I think I probably would have been more upset. So it's a shame to see Viking go down to the lower levels, but someone had to, and
with the noobs
the depths
in Division 2. I agree. I mean, I think it's crazy considering how Viking had such a good year yet last year, obviously with all the online tournaments, and yet they're going to be in Division 2. It's quite crazy, but it happens. That they showed a little bit of instability by changing the off lane halfway through the season as well. Whether there was issues with that or not, who knows? But regardless,
and
go on.
Enigma made me look like a fool and didn't get relegated like I thought. They managed to.
Yeah.
As soon as they took We Are out of the mid lane, they looked better. So there we go. That's why. Yeah. How would I have predicted that? Eh?
Oh, well. I wonder what they're going to do going forward, because they still have an important game. We'll talk about that against High Coast and whether they're going to stick with that or not. But regardless, though, let's talk about the possibilities going into the final week. So this is still quite confusing, really, and it all depends on each other's games and their results. So just quickly talking about it. So Tundra, OG, Liquid, and Enigma are all on 3 series wins. Tundra obviously have no more games to be played, so they're maxed out. They've played all their games, but Liquid, OG, and Enigma all left have to play. And Alliance are on 4 series wins, but they also have another game as well. So Tundra are at a maximum of 3 wins because they've already played all their games, and Alliance are a minimum of 4, so they have 1 more game to play. But even if they lose, they've still got 4 games. So technically, there's 5 teams for 3 slots. But realistically, it's probably 4 teams and 2 slots because we assume that Alliance will get the other major slot. And so 4 teams with 2 slots because they all have 3 wins. So how it works is that Enigma play first against High Coast Esports, and if they win that game, they are guaranteed a major slot, which is probably to be expected. High Coast are already relegated; they've got really nothing to play for. They can't even get above Viking in the standings. I think
they're just gonna try and get some money, do a bit of match fixing and lose, and go from there.
Go from there. So pretty much Enigma are most likely going to qualify because of that. Then it's Liquid versus Alliance, a series after that. Now, if Alliance win, they are guaranteed to be the second slot, which is quite important because they will be then automatically seeded into the group stage of the major. They won't be in the wild card, so they're automatically getting more DPC points if they come second. However, if Liquid win, they qualify if Enigma fails to beat High Coast Esports, or if OG fails to beat Secret, which is the game after. So the series after is OG versus Secret. If OG have to win to force tiebreakers if both Enigma and Liquid win. Now, if OG lose, they could not make the major, depending on whether Enigma and Liquid both win their games as well. So
this is when you need to put that meme of the woman who's trying to do all those maths, like
all the calculations. And now there is actually a very unlikely but possibility that I should probably mention here is that Tundra still have a potential to get to the major as well. Tundra have to hope that High Coast beat Enigma, Alliance beat Liquid, and Secret beat OG. That way, then it would be a Secret and Alliance will take the top 2 slots, with Liquid, Enigma, OG, and Tundra, having a 4-way tie-break scenario to earn the 2 remaining slots of the major, as those 4 teams would end the season on a 3-4 series score altogether.
Very interesting.
So really there is still everything to play for next week.
There is. I mean, we've seen a High Coast Esports win. I don't think we're going to see another one, so I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know. Let's see if they put Wee Hamid. Anything can happen.
There we go. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
If he plays Bat Rider. So just quickly looking at the next segment of this podcast, the Hero and Zero of the week. We look at some of the best heroes and worst heroes of the DPC this week. My actually hero of the week, I've put, and zero of the week, it's probably heroes we haven't seen that much at all, really, so far, but they've had great win rates. So it's Razor I've chosen as the hero of the week. He's been played only 16 times across all the DPC, which is actually quite low considering how many, but he's 75% win rate across all divisions, which is actually quite a lot. Obviously 75%, really high actually if you compare it to some of the others. And then just in the upper division of the EU, he's been played 4 times, but he's got 100% win rate. So he's won every single game. Obviously, we saw it this week with Enigma versus Tundra, which secured a win as well. I think the heroes is kind of good. I think it's a bit niche though as well. I don't think you can kind of just pick it up willy-nilly, but I don't know. Like, it's good against these heroes like Troll, for example, even Medusa, that are quite immobile, but they're requiring a lot on their damage. As for the zero of the week, I've chosen Ricky. He's been picked quite a lot actually, 70 games across all the DPC, but with only a 35% win rate. So really poor considering how high he's been picked. But it's been actually he hasn't been looked at really that much in the European upper division. Only picked 5 times, but again with a low win rate of 40%. So I don't know if you've got any thoughts on either of those heroes.
Yeah, I think the Razor's an interesting one. I mean, he's a hero that I don't think I've come across in my games.
Not even in my games either, to be fair.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I played with or against a Razor. So it's interesting to actually see the pros pick him and have success with him. Whether that means more people will start picking him, I don't know. Ricky, because we've not seen a lot of him in the EU, I've not got too much to think about him. Personally, my zero is actually Alchemist. I know that OG won a game with him, but he just seems so clanky in the offlane. It just doesn't seem right. When it goes wrong, it goes so wrong.
True.
And it's like, if it goes right, it's like, okay, yeah, this is all right. But then I think other offlaners are so much safer and can still, when things are going well, they all look good. So it's like difficult to say, really.
It's interesting you say about Alchemist though. Like, I think in the offlane position, I would probably agree with you, but in the carry position, I think he's actually really, really strong. Actually, like, I know NA have been playing him a lot with EG and Quince Crew the series. Like, every time they played Alchemist, they won. And I think I didn't check it, but I think he had like around about the 60% win rate as a hero. But that's more so focused on the carry than as an offlaner, which is just just really interesting to sort of see how the heroes have changed their roles, really. But
absolutely,
yeah.
I find it crazy that the different regions are so different tactic-wise.
Sure.
It's, you know, they're all playing the same game. You'd think it's the same, but it's
exactly,
interesting.
and it's gonna be interesting come the major when these kind of different ideas of how to play Dota are gonna kind of fuse and kind of see how they compete and play against each other.
Yeah, definitely.
But before we move on to this week's, we'll just have a quick look at some of the top plays and top fails of the week. So let's run the VT.
Yeah, but Scan comes out.
It's just Januel chilling in a pit.
They're going to fight this. They're going to go. They've got the silence down. They'll look over at DJ, trying to get the kill into the Earth Spirit. The roll's not going to get him out. Magnetize was committed. They'll take out DJ. He does not have buyback.
That was actually intentional by Januel, because Scan was not used for a very long. This is such a big brain play. If you look what happened, Januel was sitting in the pit
himself,
and they use Scan, so they're like, yes, they're doing Roshan, while the rest of the team is holding the high ground with the Sentry and Observer board. So they've fallen into a trap. It could have been a disaster. They lost only position 4 hero, but I don't think I've seen such a big brain play in a long time. Maybe there's no reason for Januel to be there unless he thinks that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Pretty cute. And both teams have gems now. They know that this last fight will determine the game, so you're just putting any resources you can into just one fight.
Now a flicker on Artesia. That's going to give him a lot more survivability. The movement speed is nice too, since he's playing without boots. Gonna help his game a lot.
19,000 gold leading.
Just charges in there, gets the gem. Good pickup.
Oh, and the timing of that, Roche is respawning early. It's come back up already, and Quincy Crew see it. They know this. Without Nyx, that's a lot of the control that EG are going to be lacking.
Yeah, so right now, Quincy Crew, they need an Aeon Disc or an Aegis to play versus Ravage Alchemist combo, right? Because you can't let the Deuce die right away. So right now they're going, this is like their only win condition, I think, the game.
Quick respawn sets it up for them perfectly. Courier goes down. Nick's still 30 seconds away. Throwing out those arrows, smoke behind. Looking for a play here. Arteezy ready to jump in on everybody. BKB right, BKB comes from your ward, saving his life, but on it. He snatches the Aegis. Oh, that was so needed. Now tries to jump away. Arteezy is in a world of hurt though. Goes for the flicker out of there. Manages to escape. Fly on the other side.
He's turning. Arteezy's back in.
So much damage in the jump onto Dusa. Now in trouble. Now dead. No buyback for Dusa, and look at that Alchemist run on in. Triple kill for R4. Dude, that flicker was sick. Oh my god, ultra kill, go for more, make my day please. He's chasing in, wants another. GG's already been called. Evil geniuses will not be denied.
More than enough. But EG have really done a good job soloing that out. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get high ground. What the hell?
Arteezy, Courier.
Midnight
Tries to get out of there. Oh, no! No!
You can't blame, honestly, I don't blame him at all for that, because he doesn't have time to click him to see how long the TP's channeling for. He's just hoping that he gets the kill there.
Oh, that was a good try. That was unfortunate. But that's EG's window right there, right? Like all these split push things, you can't split push to win the game of Dota. You can split push in order to create an opportunity where the enemy team like uses a cooldown or a TP scroll, and then you get a
He's just losing his money.
He's just losing his money. He's just getting hit by the off-lane bounty. And now mid-tower is getting pressed.
And now Snape's doing Roche.
No, he's not.
He's going to do Roche for like 3-10 minutes. He's actually, they're not going to check this out. He's going to do it.
There's no way.
He's actually having such a good game here, this jungle Huskar. And one of it was the fastest arm that was seen on a Huskar in this patch. He's now going to get Roche. It's going to be the. Is this the? I bet we don't even have that stat. Do we have that stat?
Roche into DPC. As long as he doesn't die, he's doing it right though. He's
got it. He's going to be able to do it. Unless he gets. Oh no! Oh, look how low it is! Get to the pit! Everybody, get to the pit! Get to the pit right now! this, you can get it, there's a Roche!
Oh my god.
Oh, they're gonna hit it! Somebody hit it! Everybody to the pit! All hands on deck, get that Roche up, but no! DM's cleaning up.
Money.
Oh no!
Money.
They went to the Roche, but they needed more crystallize. He's got no health, he's got no mana, he can't come over here.
They just got 2 track kills for free.
Oh, it was all part of the plan. Save planned to get bashed and died because he knew that it would bait them in.
And Crystallize is still, he's still tracked.
Oh, and he's still hanging around.
What the? Wait, what?
No. Oh dear. Oh dear. They'll get back in, back on track, and it will still be a 10-minute Roshan here from VP.
VP is my favorite team at the moment. Sorry, Secret. I've now.
And it is the fastest Roshan of the.
First, but yeah, they can do this here. There's no ults except for Magnetize.
It's a lot of damage here. Boom, reading the situation, realizing that a lot can be done here with this buyback. They've got the fortification. Still 30 seconds, no 9.
Yeah, they have to keep going.
They got the jump on the side. They're in on Survivor. Silence. We'll stop the follow-up stun for now. But is it going to last long enough? It isn't. Biver's gone. Another jump. Viking keeping the pressure up. Tier 3's down. They're onto the barracks. Skeeter and Fada are alive at the moment, trying to push them away. Trying to not lose their racks here as early as it is. 33's back in the game.
They're not going to actually be able to finish it in time. That's pretty huge. Look at this courier, Micro. Do you see this? 33 pulled the wave with the courier. That's why the back door reactivated. I was wondering where the was, and I'm watching a courier. Oh my god.
I was kind of thinking, I was like, so who sniped the creep wave? But indeed, look at that.
It was a skeleton from Wraith King. I'm like looking around. I'm like, what the heck's going on over here? He pulled the creep wave with. Okay, so push has been stopped right before the rack.
And down bottom, Kezu. Oh, 33 might walk into a stun. He is Aramis. He's got the setup. They'll run this down with the Blade Fury. First blood. A boom.
I feel like that's an important first blood to secure on Boom as well. I've been looking at, I was actually clicking between the 2 heroes. Look at the base damage, you know. But Void Spirit got a 2 base damage nerf. Look at Void Spirit's base damage. Look at Mars. Now with his items, he's gonna actually have, he's gonna have a base damage advantage if he brings out the null. Treants going in. Are they gonna snipe couriers? Dude, look at this Treant in the Viking base. Look at this Treant in the Viking base. It's getting the CM courier.
Oh my
god,
goodness.
are you kidding me?
Is it getting another? Oh, they've realized. I mean, it timed out anyway, but it actually got one. All
he
right.
walked it into the tier 3 top. I saw it walk and I was like, no one's paying attention to this. And all right, no one paid attention to it. And now we watch the fun of lane swapping. Timbersaw doesn't want. Maybe he changes it. We'll see.
His position is, it's got to be perfect.
It's everything, yeah.
Kezu.
9.
Gonna start things here with the drag back onto 9. 9's pretty tanky though. Tornado off the mark there as the snowball from Biber. Them safe. 33 with the mech popped. To keep his team strong enough to keep this fight going. Kezu's going to have another chance for a blink in a second, and he goes for it. He's be able to get the jump in. This time only onto the troll. Can they burst him down though? He's trying to get back in on this Kezu, but over to the side 9. He's already in and on top of Aramis. Gita moves in with a battle chance. Leads through Kezu. Over Biber goes towards Boom. You see Shad jump in from the side. He's trying to get involved, but the silence is upon him. He pops the enrage. He's looking for 33. See if he can chase down this Darkseer. Surges up and Biber with another shard. Blocks off any attempt from Viking to chase and Tundra. They're not even done yet. He's ready to go. The back one of the 3 of them into the X-Swile. They're all dead.
Oh my god. All right, that was that's going to finish up a fight.
There we go. So that was the play I was telling you about.
That courier.
That courier, man. The courier.
Sneaky courier. Sneaky.
So this week's main talking points then. Let's just talk about kind of the elephant in the room, really. The patch mid-season. No, Jazz, I'm not talking about you're the elephant in your room. I'm talking about the patch mid-season. Obviously, I mentioned actually Ricky being a really low win rate as well, but he actually got nerfed. Obviously, we're talking about the new 7.27C, I think. and where it was literally patched the day of OG versus Liquid or the night of, before. And
yeah, and Jake, do you remember what you texted me? What was it you texted me? You were
what
like,
did I say?
what happened? You said, you know what? OG are much better at adapting. They're definitely going to take this series now because of the changes. I remembered that. I thought, oh, that was good to know. I'll notice that on the video
I think
later.
I was just being pessimistic. I'm a Liquid fanboy, but I have to admit,
you were throwing in the towel for
I was throwing in the towel. Yeah, I do admit. But yeah, I still probably stand by it. I thought OG were going to take it, but then they got stomped in 30 minutes because OG picked Arc Forward for some reason. So happy days for Liquid fans all around. But
Easy.
yeah, I mean, this patch mid-season, I think I think the competitors in general have spoken out how bad it was, really, because it changed up a lot of things. The patch and the meta develops, and the way you kind of prioritize and value certain heroes in certain areas of the draft, for example, and then for it to kind of change last minute, and particularly for teams that had to play that same day. Like, there's so little time to respond. I think even Insania mentioned it in his interview that he said, "Look, we're just gonna have to play with the nerfs because we've practiced all this time, weeks, months of sort of planning and strategizing. We can't just throw that out the window now, even if the heroes that they're gonna pick are worse. They end up playing puck. They played puck a few games. So it's quite crazy, but I think it's just mad how they played it 1 week before. I think altogether a lot of the response was negative towards that happening.
Yeah, we talked about, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago about when to do a patch. We said either after a major or, I feel like before would have been a bit dangerous, but then the fact that they did it on the day of some games and some important games was tough. But
yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But I think the one reason why they might have wanted to do it is because obviously China, they were obviously in the Chinese New Year. They had missed 2 weeks as well. So when they come back, they've got to play their games and then they've got to get ready for the major as well. So, it's hard to sort of say that's the reasoning, but, yeah, I just trying to give some kind of clarification of why they might have done it, even if I think it wasn't great. It's just, they've got to get this patch in. I'm assuming then, now that this patch is in, it won't change until we get to the major or after the major's finished. I don't think there'll be another patch before the major. But then again, I didn't think there was going to be a patch during the tournament either, during the league. So, yeah, just kind of crazy. But yeah, maybe pandering to the Chinese overlords.
Possibly.
So, next point.
The bigger news.
Dota 2 getting an anime. Dota 2 Dragon's Blood. Weebs can celebrate and unite over this. Jazz.
I'm 100% weeb, man. I'm so psyched for this. I've watched a few different animes anyway, and so I'm really quite interested about this. And it looked awesome. Every trailer that's come out, because I think we've had 2, haven't we? They just look better and better, and I'm so in, and I just really hope it's popular so that they can do more characters. I want to see an anime about techies. That's all I want in my life.
Rubik needs to be in there because Rubik is one of the coolest characters in the Dota universe. If they don't include, they include Invoker, which I think is really cool. Invoker's in it. And I think it makes a lot of sense. You have this anime or this series or narrative built around 2 or 3 mainstay characters. Obviously in this case it's going to be the Dragon Knight and Mirana, and then you have all these kind of cameos and different heroes and stuff. And we still don't know really who the villain's going to be. We obviously don't know much about the storyline in general, but it looks awesome, to be fair. And it does. For someone you really into D&D, you try to do this Dota D&D and this kind of anime is kind of like that kind of style, building a narrative over it.
The only thing is, Jake, they need a position 5 now. They've got the carry, they've got the mid off lane, position 4. They need a position 5. So Rubik, bit greedy maybe for the anime. Maybe.
Liquid would play position 5 Rubik. Insania would play it. So I think they just include Rubik in there, sort out
Fair
the
enough.
But some of the YouTube comments are hilarious though. They're I don't know if you read them, but they're all Dota related. So it's just at the end of the trailer where Mirana's Dragon Knight, brave. Sorry, stupid but brave. but mainly stupid. Then like Dragon Knight start reporting Morano for communication abuse and things like that in the comments. It's hilarious.
That's good. I have to watch some of them. I've seen a few different ones, but I hadn't seen that. That's quite funny.
So yeah, and I think it's really cool though, because I think we've always talked about like how Dota has such a cool kind of concept as a lore, and like there's so many opportunities and possibilities for like content and like movies and TV. And I think like anime makes the most amount of sense, because like making it real world is going to be like really cheesy, but like anime, it kind of fits the style, you know.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, I think from what it looks like, I had a quick look on like Netflix and some of the other like animes or things that they're doing, like in terms of new, and like Dota looks like 10 times more popular in terms of the views of the trailers and stuff. So that they have a good following because of obviously the Dota community and stuff.
Well,
And,
this is the thing. It's an anime that has already got a backing because of the game beforehand.
Exactly.
And it's only and a lot of people, even if they haven't played Dota or Dota, they've heard of it. Maybe a lot of League of Lesbian players will go, "Oh, well, we haven't got an anime. Let's watch Dota." Like,
exactly.
So I guess you never know.
For sure. And then not only that, but I think like this could definitely bring in players that like people who, because obviously if you think about like who is making the show as well, the same people who made some top animes before, like I think it was Avatar, wasn't it, or the Legend of Korra.
That's the animation team.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Are doing it, whereas the actual writers, I think, were more like, was it Thor and Black Sails?
Yeah.
So there is definitely some interesting people behind the scenes. So
yeah, and there's like there seems to be like a lot of hype towards it. So I think it can only be good for the game. Obviously, you think about like the Queen's Gambit and what it's done for chess. It's like exploded the scene and stuff. So we never know. Like who needs to? Valve don't even need to advertise Dota if like they're gonna just bring out an anime and get loads of fans that way.
Yep, exactly.
That's their advertising strategy, I guess. But...
Can make money while getting new players.
Exactly.
Genius.
Win-win. Win-win. That's a 500 IQ play right there. So next, talking on, we briefly mentioned it before about like the relegation and whether it's really fair for Viking. We're talking obviously about how the two from the upper division automatically relegate. And we talked, I think, last week about maybe there should be some kind of tiebreaker or a series between 7th place and 2nd place of the lower division and sort of battling it out. Because you got to think about like not only is it probably from a pure play standpoint that I can guarantee you that Viking are better than any of the 2nd place teams of the lower division. You got to think about their sponsors as well. Like Viking are actually a sponsored team, right? So if they then get relegated to the lower division, then like the sponsors are going to be less happy because there's going to be less eyeballs. Like people want to be focused on the upper division games to the lower division games. And then obviously there's a big idea of this TI as well, right? So in a normal scenario, assuming COVID wasn't an issue, there would have been 3 seasons of the leagues. Obviously, because of COVID, there was only 2. And so because we missed like the first season, even though it wasn't there because of COVID. And so altogether, there's only been 2 seasons. So if you go to the lower division next season, there's no way you can get to TI this year because you're not going to be able to get back to the upper division, so you can't get DPC points, you can't get to major. And so really the question is, I think we could talk about is, should they really actually reintroduce open TI qualifiers? Because in my eyes, it makes sense that they wouldn't have open TI qualifiers if there was these 3 different seasons of the league. But because there's only 2, scenarios like this can happen, and are we missing out potentially great players and great teams not making it to the best tournament of the year for the Dota sphere, So there's that argument to be had, but then the argument is, okay, if we have open TI qualifiers, then who loses their slots? So there's many problems with it, and it's just difficult.
Yeah, totally. Obviously, next year it's going to be better, hopefully, with the 3 seasons. And I think the way that you described it last time, we talked about it, about maybe the bottom team gets relegated, but the second from bottom maybe just fights for it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, are people going to be, but then there's no change. You're only getting 1 team as a change.
For sure.
But this is the thing. I feel bad for Viking GG. I'd feel bad for anyone other than High Coast because it's obvious that they probably don't belong there. But when it's so close with all these games, that made a difference, to see that there's no hope for them coming back until the next season, properly after TI. It's difficult to know, but is there ever going to be a perfect system? Because there's just so many good teams that you all want to see.
Exactly, definitely. It's hard to say for certain either way, but it's an interesting discussion point. So just quickly looking at some of the other regions as well, because it's getting so close now to the, we've only got 1 week left. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of take a bit more of a detailed view at some of the other regions, because it is quite interesting because they will eventually end up playing in the major, which will, direct and respond how EU can play. So looking over at NA, a real upset actually in the NA division, because EG got beat by Quincy Crew. I watched this series live actually, and it was a fantastic series. And really, in the end, it was just a really big upset because Quincy, spoiler alert, they end up beating EG 2-1. And so this is pretty huge if you think about it, because there's only 2 slots going for NA, and the first seed going into that will automatically be in the playoff bracket of the major. So they're automatically like top 8, I think, or top 10 in the major, just simply by getting first in the league. And obviously EG really are the complete favourites. They brought in Ice, Arbid, and then obviously got Crit with position 4, and then the Artesian Fly as well. And Quincy Crew, they're got named players, but I can assure you, you know more of the EG roster than the Quincy roster, But really good game series. Again, Alchemist was played twice in that game. Every time it was played, it won. Medusa was played out as well. And in the end, I think Quincy just outplayed EG. To put simply, there wasn't much about it. Like a great series throughout, but they ended up winning. But it is an interesting thing because the last week game is important because there's another team in NA called Team Undying, and they're 4-1. They lost to EG, but they have yet to play Quincy Crew. Now, if they beat Quincy Crew, that would mean there'll be a 3-way tie with everyone going 5-1, so then there will be a tiebreaker for those 2 slots. So then, it all depends. But if Quincy Crew win, then they will automatically get the first seed, because they had already been EG. They'd be 6-0. Moving over to CIS, again, Na'Vi and Virtus Pro are still undefeated because they've yet to play each other, and they're automatically qualified. I mentioned that last week. But third seed, obviously, because CIS get 3 slots, it's still really up for grabs. There's 3 teams that are all on the same points: AS Monaco Gambit, Extreme, and Team Spirit. And there's potential tiebreakers there depending on the results going into the last week. So that's kind of cool. China, obviously, the Chinese New Year, the 2-week postponements is finally finished now. So they've kind of got games to catch up on. And I guess in some ways they've had a bit more time to play on the patch as well, because they've had no games because, Valve loves China, Chinese money. For SEA, again, it looks like Fnatic and Neon Esports are going to be taking the top 2 slots, and then there's sort of T1 and Boom and other teams looking for the other slot. And as for SA, no one cares about SA. So let's look at next week's game, shall we, in EU. What series to watch out for? Well, really, every series is to watch out for. There's only 3 series next week. Enigma versus High Coast, Liquid versus Alliance, and Secret versus OG. I don't know if you've got...
got 2 tomorrow and only the 1 on the Wednesday. Obviously, I've been watching the Secret versus OG game, but I think the Liquid versus Alliance game will be really big. Enigma versus High Coast. I mean, I'd love High Coast to actually show up and do something a bit special, but
I mean, that would be a story to say the least if they.
It would be,
win,
absolutely, and I think
it's going to happen.
I'd have to watch it just in case, because if you don't, and then you'll be like, oh no, that sucks. So but obviously, so Liquid versus Alliance and Secret versus OG are definitely.
I mean, assuming that Secret play. Obviously, I'm not going to Secret are already first seed, right? So I'm not going to say that Secret are going to throw, but in one of those things that
I don't honestly, they wouldn't.
No,
I
that's
think
what I mean.
Such an ego, puppy. Like I said, the way that they destroyed High Coast.
Yeah.
You felt sorry as a Secret fan. You felt sorry for High Coast. You felt, oh, it's a bit actually harsh, puppy. Come on now. And there's no way they would hold anything back against OG.
And that. And also they're playing against OG as well, right? I think Secret have something to prove to OG. OG 2-time TI winners. Secret have not yet won a TI, so there's kind of that pride involved in it. And I think just on the game alone, that could be a really, really good series, because obviously these are some of the best teams in the world, let alone Europe. And it's going to be the last game of the whole this cycle season. So that could be a really good game, not only because of how important it is for OG to win, but also just how good the Dota could be, depending on it. And I think really there's so much storylines depending on what happens in those games, because if Enigma beat High Coast, then they're already qualified. If Alliance then beat Liquid, then OG need to win that game against Secret to qualify to the major. Then Liquid will guaranteed not get to the major. So there's so much storyline, so much narrative there, and yeah, just madness really going through into it. So let's just have a quick look at our viewer Q&A. Again, we've only got one question, and we kind of briefly mentioned it about will we see another patch before the major, is the question.
Yeah, the first day of the major, they're going to throw in a 7.29.
2.9, yeah.
To whatever it is, yeah, huge. Ag shard taken away from some heroes. They're going to release the new hero. Hoodwink, Hoodwink's going to be added. Yeah, there's loads. That's what I'm expecting. No, I can't see it personally. But
I don't think so, because if you think about it, I mean, at the same time, like, the thing is that I would say definitely no, but the reason why we had one like a couple of days ago, like I can actually see them doing it, because if you think about it, we've got one more week left, right? And then after that week, there's like a month in between the major starting and the league finishing. So in that 1 month time, like you'd think like surely they'd just wait one more week. So if that, like maybe they thought, oh, we still need to touch up more other things. Like in my opinion, like there's still a few heroes that are like too strong or need changing, or and there's also heroes that maybe need buffing. Like we'll talk about that next week. It'll be a really cool talking point about heroes that haven't been picked in the complete DPC. But like heroes like Pudge, for example, like haven't been touched in any region. Techie's barely been touched. So these heroes that, I'm not saying Techie's needs a buff, by the way. No, everyone needs a hero.
Please no.
Please don't buff it. But like, you know, I don't know. I could see it. Like even heroes like Beastmaster, I think are super strong.
Yeah.
Might need touching up. So things like this, you know, Necro Book, and like some of the items are so broken. Like Necro Book is super strong. Witchblade is showing a lot of promise as well. Then there's things like the what's the item that has the 25% magic resistance, but also it's like the attacking one.
Ghost Shroud?
No, not the other one, the aggressive one. So whenever you attack someone, their magic resistance or damage they do is
Mage Slayer.
Mage Slayer,
isn't it?
yeah, Mage Slayer. That's it. So that item like never gets picked up. We saw Topson pick it up, but he'll pick up like anything. Like he'll pick up like Dagon on like Crystal Maiden or something stupid. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I think they actually could be a patch before the major. On that. Just on Valve's inconsistency alone, I think that's possible.
There we go. Well, when we do the first week of Major, and there has been a patch, I'll just remind you of this as well, that you were wrong. So,
Thank you. You're always keeping me in check.
Yep. Well, I can't physically kick you in the nuts.
True,
anymore
COVID, guys.
COVID. So I have to do it over virtually.
Virtually kicking people in the nuts. That sounds like a fetish of yours.
That's what I do.
So. That is the end of this week's. Oh mate, on that bombshell, we're gonna end it. But thanks everyone for watching and listening. There will be one final episode next week. We really enjoy it. I hope you enjoy listening to it too. And until then, Jazz, what's the catchphrase?
Something about grinding, which sounds worse than it is.
Keep running, grinding, people. Till then, till next time. Peace out, guys.